Welcome to this week's first edition of the Brandstand, where we help business leaders to understand how investing in their brand can help them to grow their business. I'm Craig McVoy, founder of Beyond Brand, and I've been helping businesses now to grow their business for over 20 years by using the same tools and techniques that we offer, helping them to attract more of their ideal customer and then keep them for longer. This week we're looking at tech tools and how they can give you competitive advantage. And in today's first episode, we're going to look at why going digital is now crucial to your success. But how do you do it? So it's okay people telling you that it's time to become digital, but how do you do that? And what are the things that you need to focus on the most in order to make things be a success for your business? Well, also, it all depends about what is it that your customers actually want from your digital solution? How do they want to interact with you? What sort of connections and tasks are they going to be doing on digital that will replace those face-to-face or over the phone interactions? It's also important to understand which of those will be more standard, process and task driven, and which of those connections will be emotional and emotion driven. For instance, if you're going to get involved in a complaint, do you really want to be doing that on a digital basis? You might want to because you don't like having that conflict and you'd much rather type it into a website. But it's about mapping out what all of these elements look like and understanding the options that customers have. The options are really important because digital shouldn't necessarily be a replacement, but an option that customers can choose from. It's about making it relevant for the customer to be able to choose the channel of their choice and giving them that option if they want it to make their lives easier so that they can contact you at midnight or 1 in the morning or whenever it suits, in fact. But the whole point of your digital strategy is to find out what is it your customers want and how are you able to deliver that to them so that they spend less time dealing with the things that they have to do, and then they can spend more time dealing with the things they want to do and getting that pleasure that we talked about in the loyalty matrix. And that's important to think about the channels because they won't use all of those channels that are out there. There are hundreds of different channels to use, but which are the ones that matter to your customers? And also, how do you join them all up together so that it's a seamless experience in what's known as omni-channel connection as opposed to multi-channel. So multi-channel will cover each individual channel being one that you can choose from, but actually they're not joined up. So if you then go and use another one, there's no record that you've done anything there. So those being joined up and being able to hand over between those different devices, between those different channels is really important so that there's one consistent flow of information. It stops customers having to repeat themselves because there's nothing more frustrating than having spent half an hour talking to somebody about what you need help with and then for it only have to go through it all again when you go through to a different channel. So the recommended actions that you want to be looking at are looking at how do those customers interact across channels. What is it they're doing when they're interacting with you? And how can you keep a record of that so that no matter what channel they come into, you're able to then understand what the previous connection was about and connect them to the right place if it's a continuation of that inquiry. And that will require for you to look at how you map out your digital flow. So looking at the user experience, whether that be online through an app, is only one part of that, but making sure that connects with everything else that you do and is joined up in the customer's expectations. It needs to merge well with human interaction and not just cover process, but also look at the emotional connection that the customer has to your brand. Of course, it has to be brand relevant, but it also has to feel like the experience that your brand would be delivering, whether that be online, through an app, over the phone or in a store. It all needs to feel just like your brand would. And therefore we've got a summary of 3 main points for you to remember. When looking at your digital strategy, the first thing to consider is what is it your customers actually want? What are they trying to do, whether that be digital or traditional channels, and how can you make that experience just as easy and more convenient for them if they choose to use the digital channels. Make sure those channels are all connected and that there's that omni-channel experience, and also make sure that you're mapping out those experiences to make sure they're delivering not just from a process and task perspective, but also on those important emotions too. Come on! Look out for the next edition of the Brandstand this week, where we'll be looking at how to use data to give you competitive advantage. In the meantime, if you want to attract more customers and then keep them for longer, click the link below to access a recent presentation we gave on Brand 101, covering the foundations of what makes a successful brand. Have a great week and stay safe.